Before we dive into today's story, take a second to subscribe. If you enjoy discovering hidden treasures and the secrets behind everyday objects, you're in the right place. Now let's get into something that might be sitting quietly in a drawer, a jar, or even your pocket right now, but could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Imagine holding a small, ordinary-looking coin. It's not gold, it's not shining like something from a movie, and at first glance, it doesn't scream value. In fact, most people would probably ignore it. But history has a funny way of hiding its most powerful stories in the simplest objects. This coin is one of those stories. The year stamped on it is 2006, a time not too long ago, yet already filled with economic shifts, political change, and a world that was quietly transforming. Coins from this period were produced in large numbers, passed from hand to hand without a second thought. People used them for groceries, transport, small purchases, never realizing that a few rare pieces from that very same batch would go on to become something extraordinary. Now here's where things get interesting. Not every coin is created equal. Even within the same year and design, tiny differences can change everything. A slight variation in metal composition, a subtle minting error, or even a limited production run can turn an everyday coin into a collector's dream. And collectors, especially those who have spent decades in the game, know exactly what to look for. Think about the journey of a coin like this. Starts in a mint, freshly struck, perfect in form. Then it enters circulation, moving from person to person across cities, across years. It might have been in someone's wallet during an important life moment, used in a transaction that meant something, or simply forgotten in a corner of a home. Over time, most coins wear down, lose their sharpness, and fade into obscurity. But a very few, remain special. Collectors, especially seasoned men in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, often talk about the thrill of the hunt. It's not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about holding a piece of history and knowing that you've found something others overlooked. There's a deep satisfaction in recognizing value where others see none. And this particular coin carries that kind of mystery. Its design reflects a nation's identity, its symbols telling a story of heritage, culture, and pride. Every detail on its surface was carefully chosen, and every mark it carries today adds to its character. But beyond the visible, there's an invisible layer, the rarity, the demand, and the story collectors tell themselves when they add it to their collection. Let's talk about rarity for a moment. True rarity isn't just about how many were made. It's about how many survived in the right condition. A coin that has been preserved well, with minimal wear, can be worth exponentially more than one that has been heavily circulated. Condition is everything. Collectors use precise terms, grades, and standards to evaluate this, and even a small difference in grade can mean a massive difference in value. Now imagine a coin from 2006 that somehow escaped the usual fate. It wasn't scratched, it wasn't worn down, and it retained the sharpness of its original strike. Maybe it was stored away unknowingly. Maybe someone recognized its potential early on. Whatever the reason, it remained in a state that collectors would call exceptional. But that's not all. There's another factor, demand. When collectors begin to notice something unusual, word spreads. Quietly at first, then more loudly. Forums, private groups, and collector circles start discussing it. People begin searching for it. And as demand increases, so does value. This is where ordinary people often get surprised, because they realize that something they once dismissed as pocket change is now being talked about in serious circles. Auctions, private sales, and collector deals start to reveal numbers that seem almost unbelievable. And here's the part that makes this story powerful. You don't need to be a lifelong expert to stumble upon something valuable. Many people who discover rare coins are not professionals. They're everyday individuals who took a closer look, who became curious, who decided not to ignore the small things. So if you have old coins lying around, especially from the early 2000s, it might be worth taking a second look. Pay attention to details. Look for anything unusual, differences in design, errors, or coins that simply look better preserved than the rest. Sometimes, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is hidden in the smallest detail. There's also something deeper here. In a world that moves fast, where everything is digital and instant, coins like this remind us of something tangible, something real. They connect us to history, to craftsmanship, to a time when value was literally held in your hand. And that connection is something many collectors deeply appreciate. For men who have spent years building experience, whether in business, trade, or life itself, there's a certain appeal in recognizing hidden value. It's a skill, a mindset, and coin collecting taps into that perfectly. It rewards patience, attention, and knowledge.
Before we dive into today's story, take a second right now, hit that subscribe button, and join a community where history, hidden value, and real-world treasure come together. If you enjoy discovering rare coins and the stories behind them, you're exactly where you need to be. Now imagine this. You're going through an old drawer, maybe something your father or grandfather once used. It's quiet, just another ordinary day. You find a few loose coins, nothing special at first glance. But then one catches your eye. A simple 20-cent coin from the year 2000 from South Africa. It doesn't look flashy. No gold shine. No oversized design. Just a normal coin, or so it seems. But here's the truth most people never realize. Sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins carry the most extraordinary secrets. This particular coin belongs to a fascinating period in South Africa's history. Around the year 2000, the country was stepping into a new era, still shaping its identity after major political and economic changes. Coins minted during this time weren't just currency. They were symbols of transition, unity, and national pride. Every line, every detail on that coin tells a deeper story. Now think about the people who used this coin back then. It passed through countless hands. It may have been used to buy bread, pay for transport, or given as change in a small rural shop. Each exchange added a layer to its invisible history. And today, that same coin could be sitting unnoticed in someone's collection or even lying forgotten in a box. What makes this coin truly interesting isn't just its origin. It's the subtle details that most people overlook. The design, the condition, the minting quality. These factors can transform a simple coin into something collectors actively search for. Some coins from this era were struck with slight variations. Others may have been produced in limited quantities without people realizing their future importance. Collectors, especially experienced ones, don't just look at coins, they study them. They notice tiny differences in lettering, spacing, and surface texture. They look for signs of rare minting errors, because those errors can turn a common coin into a one-of-a-kind piece. And when something is unique, its value changes dramatically. Now here's something powerful to understand. The value of a coin is not always about its metal or age. It's about demand, rarity, and story. If collectors believe a coin is special, its worth rises. And when a coin connects with a specific moment in history, it becomes even more desirable. For many older men, especially those who appreciate history and legacy, coins like this are more than collectibles. They are reminders. Reminders of a time, a place, and a journey. Holding a coin like this can feel like holding a piece of the past, solid, real, and meaningful. There's also a quiet thrill in discovering value where others see none. That's what makes coin collecting so addictive. It's not just a hobby, it's a hunt. A search for hidden worth in everyday objects. And once you start seeing coins this way, you never look at spare change the same again. Now imagine telling someone that a small 20-cent coin from 2000 could be worth more than they earn in months, maybe even years. Most people would laugh. They wouldn't believe it, because we're trained to judge value based on appearance. If it doesn't look expensive, we assume it isn't. But collectors know better. They understand that true value often hides in plain sight. And the people who recognize it early are the ones who benefit the most. If you're watching this, there's a good chance you already have coins stored somewhere. Maybe inherited, maybe collected casually, or maybe just saved without thinking much about them. This is your sign to take a closer look, because you might be holding something far more valuable than you think. Pay attention to condition. A coin that has been well preserved, with minimal scratches and clear details, is always more desirable. Look at the edges, the shine, the sharpness of the design. These small things matter more than most people realize. Also, don't underestimate the power of rarity. Even a small difference can set one coin apart from thousands of others. That's what collectors chase: the uncommon, the overlooked, the misunderstood. And here's something else. The emotional value of a coin often adds to its financial worth. When a coin represents a story, a memory, or a historical shift, it becomes more than just metal. It becomes a connection to something bigger. That's why people are willing to pay serious money for coins like this. Not just because they are rare, but because they mean something. So the next time you see a coin, don't ignore it. Don't assume it's just loose change. Look at it carefully. Ask questions. Do a little research. Because one small discovery can completely change your perspective. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. That simple-looking 20-cent coin from South Africa, minted in the year 2000, in the right condition, with the right characteristics, and in the eyes of the right collector, its value can reach up to $18,000. Not all treasures are hidden in vaults or buried deep underground. Some are right in front of us, passed from hand to hand, tucked away in forgotten drawers, or resting quietly in old purses. One such treasure is the 1993 20-cent coin from South Africa. At first glance, it might appear ordinary, even unremarkable, like any other coin used in everyday transactions. But hidden beneath its metallic surface lies a story, a symbol, and a slice of history that makes it one of the most fascinating coins ever produced in South Africa. This particular coin, minted in 1993, came at a pivotal moment in South Africa's history. It was the twilight of apartheid, a time when the country stood on the edge of dramatic transformation. Political changes were in motion, a new constitution was being drafted, and millions of citizens were preparing to vote in the nation's first democratic elections just a year later. The air was filled with uncertainty, hope, and the anticipation of change. In the midst of all this, the South African Mint issued a standard set of coins, including the now legendary 20-cent coin. On one side of this coin is an image that many South Africans hold close to their hearts: the King Protea. It is not just a flower. It is the national flower of South Africa and a symbol of beauty, strength, and resilience. The design on the coin captures the elegance of the Protea in full bloom, its intricate petals fanned out with grace. It's more than a decorative feature. It represents the spirit of a nation, the endurance of its people, and the promise of a new beginning. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find the coat of arms and the name of the country written in both English and Afrikaans. This small detail reflects a complex cultural identity shaped by centuries of history, colonization, struggle, and eventual progress. The inclusion of multiple languages on the coin captures a moment in time just before the official embrace of 11 national languages, which came with the new South African Constitution in 1996. Now, what makes this coin truly special isn't just its design or symbolism. It's the scarcity. In numismatic circles, the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything. While many 1993 20-cent coins were minted, only a very small number have survived in exceptional condition. Most of the coins that were circulated became worn down over the years, scratched, dented, or simply lost. But a few pristine examples, untouched by time and preserved with care, have become the crown jewels of private collections. One such coin surfaced recently, sparking interest not just among South African collectors, but internationally. Experts examined its flawless condition, studied the minting marks, and confirmed that it was one of the rarest surviving specimens of the 1993 issue. That discovery sent shockwaves through the collecting community. Suddenly, an ordinary-looking coin was being talked about as one of the most valuable in Africa. Collectors don't just value a coin for its metal content or appearance. They value the story it tells, the moment it represents, and the emotional connection it creates. This coin, struck at the crossroads of a divided past and a hopeful future, is more than a monetary object. It's a witness to change. It carries the energy of a nation stepping into a new chapter, leaving behind decades of hardship and looking forward to unity and equality. Yet there's also a psychological element at play. Coins like this remind people of their childhoods, of their parents and grandparents, of shops that no longer exist, of currencies that have changed, and of a way of life that has slowly evolved. Holding one in your hand is like holding a piece of time, a frozen fragment of memory that refuses to fade. And then there's the allure of rarity and prestige. In the world of high-end coin collecting, having a coin no one else has become a matter of pride. It's not just about the history or the beauty. It's about owning something that connects the past to the present in a way nothing else can. People compete for coins like this. Bidding wars break out. Collectors fly across countries just to examine one in person. And when the right coin appears at the right time, the price can skyrocket. In recent years, as awareness of this coin has spread and demand has grown, its market value has climbed steadily. Rare coin dealers, historians, and private investors have all kept a close eye on auctions and private sales. With each passing year, as fewer mint-condition versions of the 1993 20-cent coin are found, its value only continues to rise.